I'll first start with the process flow of how the session will go around. So first, I'll first introduce our three guests. After that, I'll just go over the bare bones of what SIH is basically, which you probably already know. And after that, we'll get to the questions that you've sent, the some other questions and stuff like that. So we'll start with the introductions. So today we have um, Tejas Bhaiya, who is the 2023 SIH winner. Also, fun fact, he was also the previous lead, like the previous lead of the IOTA club. So that's him. We also have Pranjal Bhaiya. He's from UG4 currently. He is also an SH winner of 2022. And along with him, we have Paridhi, who's also the SH winner of the year 2022. You'll get to talk with them after.
Hi guys.
Okay. Um, so you'll get to talk with them after the introductory session, after the bare bones and stuff like that. So this is going to be a pretty informal session, right? I'll first go over the question. After that, you guys can also ask whatever questions you have, right? No need to be a formal and stuff like that. So yeah, so what is SIH basically? That is um so basically SIH is conducted by the government of India every year, right? And there are a lot of problem statements given by a lot of ministries as well as private companies. Now these problem statements are related to those ministries slash private companies, right? So if I'm a company, let's say, and I have a problem, and I want an innovative solution for it, then the company can actually submit a problem statement. The students will work on it. So what happens is that first there will be an internal hackathon conducted by our SPOC. The SPOC for our college is Mallikarjun Reddy sir. He'll probably conduct an internal hackathon in which the top 25 teams will be selected and 5 teams will be set for waitlisting, right? So let's say if any of the teams of these 25 teams don't actually get to submit, or maybe there's a technical error from their side, then these 5 teams who are in the waitlist will be submitted instead. So after the 25 teams from our college are selected, it's not particular to any problem statement. Okay, these 25 teams will be across all problem statements, across all domains and sectors and everything. So after these 25 teams get selected, the PPTs or the material will get submitted on the SIH portal, right, in the respective problem statement. After that, there will be a screening from the SIH side. So for every problem statement, the top 5 teams will be selected. Then there is supposed to be a mentorship program. After that, you'll be called to a nodal center. So a nodal center is basically decided on the basis of a problem statement. So a lot of different problem statements have different nodal centers. And after that, you basically go there, and there is a lot of stuff after that. So you need to show your project. It will be evaluated on the basis of that. After that, top 1, 2, 3 teams are selected. After which, like the people that have submitted the problem statement, right? So they can actually use your like submission. So what you've submitted, what your solution is, and that's the thing. So Aman Raj is saying there's an update regarding this. It has been increased to 90 plus 10 this year. So the teams per college. I don't know that. Basically, you can go to the SH website and there are guidelines and stuff like that. So all the basics are there basically, right? What we are here for this session today is guidance or tips and tricks from the people who've actually like win this competition. So like tips and tricks on how to find a good problem statement, how to make teams and stuff like that. So I guess we'll start with the our guests here. Can you guys I guess just introduce yourself, what your problem statement was? Maybe we'll start with Tejas sir, I guess.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So, hi guys, I am Tejas Parse and I am a 2024 pass out in computer science. And let me go about my problem statement once. Let me just, can I share my screen?
Yeah, you can share the screen.
Yeah, so this was a problem statement, developing an algorithm slash program to measure increase in income of FPOs on account of project interventions under WDC 2.0. It may seem very confusing in the beginning, but this is what we chose because some statements are not very easy to understand, so it requires a lot of effort. That's why we chose this, and we spent some time on understanding what exactly all this meant. And let me just give a brief about what is this actually is. So, developing an algorithm slash program to measure increase in income of FPOs. FPOs stand for farmer organizations. Small farmer collectively form a group so that they can share resources, so that the huge farmers don't form a monopoly. So, this is what FPOs is about. And on account of project interventions under WDC 2.0, what this means is, um, a government has created a scheme named WDC, which is watershed development. And what happens is that the government will invest in creating a watershed, and the FPOs will use the water and gain income. So basically, what government wants to know is, let's say if I put a watershed at this area, how will the farmers benefit? This is what the government want to finally know, and this is what we finally worked on. So this was a problem statement, and a solution to this was creating a website where it was an e-commerce website first, the simplest of all, and later we also had a analytical dashboard for the government. So let's say farmer creates something using the water which the government invested in, and once the water is used, he will sell the product on online, and he will tag a WDC. He will tag which watershed he has used, and when the item is sold, the income is tracked under that, and then we had an analytical dashboard for that, and this was our solution basically. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Can you show the other slides of your PPT just for a reference, I guess?
Yeah, cool. So this was the first slide, and
I think your screen is visible now.
yeah, so this was the second slide, and this is what we wanted to do. So this is there were two entities. One is the consumer who will use the product. Then we have the watershed SPOC, who are the government side of uh, the government side, and this is also a government side, and this is basically the farmer side who will manage the watershed. And then the approach basically was to create a portal. These are the services which the SPOs, the farmers will sell, and we also planned on AI based dynamic pricing, which means if the water is full and it rains again, we lower the prices so that the water is being used more, and the products are also not being discarded. And then we had the technologies, because I think we had to submit two images. One is the overflow, and then second is the technologies. And then these were the few features which we tried adding, which later may or may not work out. But this is what we didn't make a LLM, but we did make a chatbot for the users to navigate in Hindi and English. And then these are the use cases. uh, who will be why they should use our platform. And then we also have a few dependencies, and showstoppers basically are like uh, what makes your website different from others. Yeah, so we made a multilingual chatbot so that people can speak in Hindi and English. And then we also tried adding blockchain, which didn't work out later. But then we tried making the transactions more secure, because it was large transactions. And the dynamic pricing of water based on the rainwater prediction. So it had a mix of uh, security and uh, machine learning. And then yeah, so we have to only submit 3 slides, and we submit this one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I think that was really helpful for the students. If you're from UG1 and you find this very overwhelming, right? So don't worry. I mean, you'll get to learn more about this once you go deep into it. It seems difficult from from the overview, but once you actually get into it, it seems pretty I don't know, simple slash understandable. Okay. Maybe Pranjal Bhaiya can start.
Hi, Abhijit. Like me and Paridhi were in the same team, so we'll be speaking together on our project. Is that fine?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously.
So I'll share
Hi
the screen.
everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it visible, right?
Yeah. It is visible.
Okay. So, Paridhi, I'd like you to start the topic.
Yeah, okay. So we went to SIH 2022, and when we had first gone into SIH, we were only starting off with our second year. So the category that we had chosen was disaster management, and the statement title that we chose was student innovation. So because we wanted to kind of come up with our own holistic solution. So I think we can move to the next slide to for us to actually explain better. We tried to develop the solution for basically the pre-disaster, the during the disaster, and the post-disaster stages, and we tried to keep something for each of that. So the website was going to handle the pre-disaster and the post-disaster stages, while
Hello.
the app would handle the during the disaster stages. So what we basically did is so I think I have one more PPT. This one might not have all the use cases. Can we just
Oh,
move to the next one?
is there?
Yeah, yeah, here. So this is what basically the website is supposed to cover. So this was not the original PPT that we had submitted. There's a specific format for that, but this is what we could find. So yeah, pre-disaster we basically define what measures you can take before a disaster. So spreading awareness and reaching out to maximum NGOs and hospitals and kind of forming a network beforehand is what we did in the pre-disaster stage. And then in the post-disaster stage, it's basically spreading information on how to overcome the losses and guiding the SQEs and et cetera, as you can see on the screen. This was done using a website. Now, the main showstopper for us was our app because that was the thing that would be used during the disaster. So that had quite a lot of features. We try to make it something of the sort of like it would enable you to use live tracking because during disasters you don't really get internet, right? So we try to make something which could work without internet and could still help you provide you with networks and connections to rescue rangers or to other people stranded al- alongside you.
Yeah. In our
And
in our case, we tried to integrate a Bluetooth technology in our application so that people in disaster-prone region do not require network internet connectivity. But it was a different case that we were not able to implement it perfectly. So it is not necessary to implement everything which you promise. It is a one thing to be kept in mind. Okay, so Paridhi,
yeah.
you were saying something.
Yeah, and apart from that, we had some alert notification systems as well, and some live statistical updates that we provided on the app. And I mean, what we took to the the final stage versus what we got out of it was completely different because they make you change the application a lot during that process. So this is what we initially had come up with, and yeah,
Yeah,
I think that kind of sums it up.
this was a tech stack and flowchart of our project. So we used multiple application development frameworks and website development frameworks, and this was a flowchart of our project, how basically the app and website works, and these are basically the showstoppers of our projects, in which differentiates our project from any regular project. This was the whole PPT summed up.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so we'll start with the questions. So first of all, okay, how did you guys know what problem statement to choose? We'll start with Tejas Bhai, I guess. So basically, how do we choose a problem statement, first of all? And the second of all, how do we know that, um, so like, how do we know which problem statement is the best, right? So some people say that, submit in problem statements that have very low participation rates. Some people say that, submit in problem statements which are very, difficult to do, so that there are not a lot of people in it. So what to do? We'll start with Tejas Bhai.
Yeah. So this is a very tough question to answer. What we did was we looked for problem statements that were not very easy to understand from the title, but are is easy when you work on it. You can take statements which have a lot of submissions, but then you'll also be competing with a lot of people. And what I believe is you should only try for statements that you can work on. Let's say you try for AR VR, you should have a basic idea of how it works, because later it might get overwhelming for you because you'll have very less time. We had about 10 days, so you should at least try for something that you think you can work on later on, and you should have a bit of idea. Look for statements that are very wordy. And personally, we didn't understand the statement which we chose. What we did was there are about 200 statements, so we just noted down about 50 to 60 of them, and then again we had a group discussion and we shortlisted a few. And if, let's say, if you don't understand the problem statement, what you can do is you can take a look at any of the website of the government, the one which is sponsoring the statement, and look for any guide, any programs or guidelines which the statement is based on. That's it.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Pranjal Bhaiya can maybe.
So in our case, like Tejas sir said, we also use the same technique. We basically chose the test cases which might have some less number of submissions, so that our chances of selections may increase. And we basically use software innovation because there were multiple domains which the SIH was offering, but software innovation was the one in which we can do something prominent to win the hackathon. So our main aim was to shortlist the problem statements which may have fewer number of submissions rather than those which have larger number, because in that selection chances are greater than the other one.
Okay, nice. So the next questions are related to PPTs. So the first question will
Hey,
be,
I'd like to add something.
yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so no matter how bad statement you pick, there will be submissions of about 40 to 50
Okay.
submissions. So don't expect like it'll be about 10, 20. People will submit, people will think like you. So we had about 80 statements in our submission. We expected about only 30, but 80 people submitted. So at least you'll be competing in the end. So don't think you'll have like 10, 20. You may have, but that's very rare case.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So, okay, yeah. So the next few questions are more about PPTs, right? So the first question will be, in the PPT, what should we prioritize? Design or functionality? Functionality in the sense that, what's the content of the PPT, the tech stack? Do we go in detail about the app that we want to build, or we just be focused on the design or the aesthetics of the PPT? We'll start with Tejas Bhaiya.
So you need to have a clear vision on how you're solving the problem. Uh, I think you need to have a mix of both. It should also look well. Let's say you are creating a flow chart. It should not just be a bunch of arrows and text. You need to have some. You need to have clear on who's going to use the website. You need to be clear on how they're going to use the website and what features you are adding to the website that will make them use it. So you need to have a idea. It may change later on. It changes for almost everyone, but at least what you are going to solve should be there on PPT. And coming to tech stacks, there usually is not a fixed one. You can you can just upload, you can take so in our time it was just an image, the text tag. So we just kept a bunch of technologies which we have worked on and which we think are easy to learn, and it's okay if you not use them, but it's good to have.
Okay, maybe Paridhi can continue.
Yeah, okay. I think I completely agree with what Tejas Bhaiya said. And also, I'd like to emphasize, I think since I think the template is pretty standardized, so don't focus much on the design and aesthetics, but do focus on making it really easy to understand. Because see, there are so many submissions. Okay, there's like lakhs of submissions, so you need to make sure that they are able to understand what you're trying to tell them easily, because they might not take out the time to understand it properly for each of the presentations. And of course, I think highlighting the functionalities and the showstoppers, I think that is something that's very important. And use more visuals, I feel like, because those are something that's easier for us to process.
Yeah, see, that's a thing that I noticed in both of the PPTs, that it was very graphical, like easy to understand. Like a lot of people just add text in the PPTs. Like there are idea sections, they'll just write the text of ideas. So that's a thing not to do, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. The second question is that um in the reference slash prototyping section, we have to put something. So last year also a lot of people put in the link to the hosted website. Some people, if they developed an app, they put in a QR code scanner. So the doubt is basically, whenever developing an application, right, you basically have two options: either to make an app for it, either to make a web for it. But a lot of people think that if I make a website of it, right, I can host the website and I can link it in the reference material, right? So the judge, they can like directly go click on the website link and just see the website. If I make an app for it, they can't actually download the app. Like even if I host it on GitHub, they'll go to GitHub, download the APK. They'll have to do a lot of stuff because Android has a lot of security procedures apparently. So do you think this matters, and does should this affect what should we build? Like, should we build an app? Should we build a website? We can start with Paridhi. Just
Yeah, so we personally had built both of them. So, but I think we used web for the same reasons that we had put web as the link for prototyping, for the same reasons. And yeah, because I mean, it's easily deployable. I mean, I don't have much to add to this question, honestly.
okay. Maybe Tejas Bhaiya.
I like, okay, first, there is
Okay, no,
the right
Pranjal, I
answer.
can continue. Sorry.
No, 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 it's not an issue. Okay, so like for the hosting part, in our cases, the evaluators were not so concerned about where you have hosted the project. So we basically used like local host works fine for website, and for application purposes, you can just provide them a working APK. So and if you are hosting, then it is well and good. Like they can give you extra points, but in our cases, hosting didn't matter much.
Okay. Tejas Bhaiya, if you can continue.
Yeah. So it depends. On the use case as well. Let's say if a farmer is using it, he would want to have a phone with him, an application. So it also depends on who is going to use the application. And coming to the prototyping submission, uh, the results are announced even before you have to submit the project. At least in our case, so the judges just come to your table and look at the application, be it on phone or website. They might ask if you're deploying it or not, but on both of the cases, you can just answer that I'll deploy it on Render or Netlify, or I'll just upload it on Play Store. So that should suffice. So sorry, it's not important to deploy it, but it mainly uh, it mainly depends on what who's using it, because the judges will ask. Let's say a farmer is using the website. How will he use it? How will he navigate through it? And how will he log in? What are the things he have made easy for him? And we did get asked. So in the end, we tried to make a web app. Sorry, not web app, mobile app. So you will get you be ready for this.
Really go through the code, like look at every piece of code and then tell you, this is there is this is not very like efficient. You can decrease the time complexity and stuff like that. So does that happen?
Oh, are you talking about the hackathon day
Option of
PPT?
uh, no. So I was talking about the submission thing. Now I'm talking about the hackathon day. Like on the hackathon day, do they
Okay.
go through your code? Is what I was.
They don't go through your code, but the judges are, in my case, were like good consultants from IBM and Oracle, so they do know what tech stacks are better in what use cases, and you have to. We had to give reasoning on why we use React.js, Node.js, and which database, and they do know which database are exist, and yeah, so they do know. They don't look at the code line by line because it's very big and they don't have very less time. They mainly look at your you have to make a PPT on in each evaluation, and you just have to show what you've implemented on the phone or laptop. So they don't go through the code line by line.
Okay. So the next questions are related to team formation. So how should we form a team? So like what are the different type of um, domains that we should include in our team? And again, what should be the generalized structure of a team? Like, is it better to have friends, or is it better to have people who are more technical, or better to have people who are more into design just to qualify for the first round? We can start with Pranjal here.
So, like while making a team, it is important to have some people on your side which are equally important, equally good in making designs, because PPT matters the most for qualifying for finals. And for the other question, I'd say like make your team according to like if you're working on a software project, don't restrict your teammates who just do backend. Like you have to make your team diverse so that you have guys who can who all can handle all the aspects of your project. One can handle the backend, one can handle the front end. Like also like full stack is also required. So every domain is required in a team. It basically depends on the project you are building. If you are building a simple website which do not have a use of AI/ML, then no point in taking a guy who specializes in artificial intelligence. So it completely depends on the type of projects you are going to build. But I'd suggest that the team should be diverse for proper work distribution.
Okay, maybe Paridhi can continue with this.
Yeah, so completely agreeing with what Pranjal said. I think, first of all, make sure that your problem statement is able to incorporate all of the various tech stacks that you know, like, all of the different skills. For example, if you have two guys who know app dev, two who know web dev, and like one or two who know AI ML. So try to have a problem statement. Like that will help you narrow down your problem statement as well if you know the tech stack that you're going to have, so you can already remove the ones that you won't be able to do. And as for whether you should choose friends or technical people, I feel like I would go for technical people, but also some people that you at least can coordinate with. At least you're good, you can work with this person, because if you do reach the finals, then it's going to be like a 36-hour hackathon, and you basically barely get any sleep. So you should be able to, able to work with the people. And also one more thing that I like to add for the previous question, like the evaluators vary greatly for every problem statement. So the evaluators we had, they did not ask us about like the code at all. There was just one of the evaluators who was even slightly concerned with some of the technologies that we use, but the other ones, they just wanted us to keep changing the functionalities. They did not care how. So it varies greatly for everyone. So you don't know what you're going to get.
Okay, maybe Tejas Bhaiya can add something to it.
Yeah, I'd say pick people who are willing to work with you for 36 hours. You won't have sleep. The food might not be great, so you will have to manage a lot. And yeah, you should also have a diverse team. Let's say you're working on a statement, you need to have at least people with some idea who can add on to what you're trying to build on, or at least give opinions on. So look for diverse people, but at the same time, look for people who are also willing to learn and work for that much amount of time once you're selected.
Okay, cool. So now these are some questions by the as like UG1 students. Like we had a form circulating and they submitted some queries in it. Can SIH help us get internship opportunities? Yeah, anyone can answer.
I mean, indirectly it can in a way. So basically, you get to when you if get to into SIH, you get to meet a lot of people from different colleges. First of all, you can find people who you can network with, you can form connections, and even you get to meet industry people, right? And so for us, the problem statement that we were working on, they really liked our prototype. So one of the evaluators wanted us to continue working on it and actually make it a finished product, and he wanted to take it further. So in that way, if you do really well in your problem statement, they might want to continue it further. And in the least, you get some sort of uh, networking, some sort of connection, which might help you later on, and also it helps in your resume. That's it from my end.
Okay, okay. Someone wants to add to it, maybe. Okay. So the next question is s- starting from basic, what to do and what not to, like what skills are required to do SIH. Should we focus on development or AIML and other stuff? Maybe anyone can answer.
So, uh, like in when we were starting developing our projects, like development is necessary, because what you are gonna do at the end of when you reach the finals. So, what we did was we decided to develop the project beforehand, and uh, we got around 1 month to 1.5 months to develop the prototype. So we thought of developing the project, and then at the time of finals, we thought that we'll hide 80% of the project and show to the evaluators that we are still working on the prototype. So, but what really happened was we developed the project, we went there, and when the first round of evaluation began, the evaluators were really not happy at all with our project. They changed the entire idea of the project. They gave us like 10 to 15 different types of changes to be done, and like the whole basic structure of the project was changed. So we had to continue with a different strategy from then on. So you can when the project you have decided, it really varies when you go to the final. It can change. So develop the project accordingly, but it is
Okay.
required to at least do some kind of development beforehand.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So next question about internal hackathon. So, any tips for the internal
Yeah, I'd
hackathon?
like to
Maybe.
add something before.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Continue.
So you the answer simple answer would be no. You don't need development, because there are teams who have competed with us who didn't use any tech stack. They used simple work. They use simple websites like I think what is called Wix or something, where you
Oh,
create your own website online. So you can get selected, but like, yeah, if you want to win, you have to like try to be the best and make a website on scratch from scratch. Yeah, so if
okay.
you're UG1, you don't necessarily need to have. You can just go for the experience. If you're selected, you can try it. You can even use DIY websites for making it.
Okay. Yeah. So the next question is, yeah. So the tips and tricks on the internal hackathon. Like, what should we prepare? What actually happens in an internal hackathon? Maybe Tejas Bhaiya can start.
So what happened was, we were told to pick one problem statement which we are interested in, and just create a PPT, like just create a SIH PPT which we will be submitting, and we just have to present ours. And there's no kind of development. Yes, but they do ask about your team members, how are what technologies they are good at, and how will they be contributing. So you need to be ready with who's going to be doing what. Just a brief idea, not
Okay.
much.
Okay. So I guess so now if any of the students have any questions, they can raise their hands, I guess. If you have like questions regarding any of the parts, like maybe the internal hackathon, maybe the part after that, maybe PPT submission, maybe what happens after you get selected and anything, you can raise your hands, or yeah, or you can unmute yourself. So I guess someone just raised a hand recently. Yeah, you can Manas Jain, yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
So, Bhaiya, how much does the project needs to be completed before submission on 12th September?
Yeah, anyone can answer. I guess Pranjal bhaiya, you can start.
So like there is not a perfect specific mark how much it needs to be completed. As much as you can do, and you think like we can do the rest at the days of finals. Like, it works. If you can complete the whole project, like that would destroy the point of hackathon. But like around 30 to 40% you should create it before the final, so that all the workloads does not get uh, put on you on the 36 hours only.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Bhaiya.
yeah, so any other questions, you can raise your hands. I mean, guys, this is an informal session. You can ask them anything. Uh, if anyone has any question, they can raise their hands. Uh, okay, I guess no questions. So, okay, we'll wrap this session up. Thank you for all the guests to be here. Okay, we have one last question. How can we make as UG1 without any idea? I guess you'll have to have an idea first.
Okay, I'd like to add something to that. So, see, to be very, very realistic, SIH will have people from UG1 to UG4, right? Of course, in 4 years, they likely know more than you. So, I won't say, you will definitely get something out of this, but what you can get in the least is experience. If you even start on a project, if you decide, okay, you want to try this problem statement, you want to try this project, at least you can get familiar with what technologies are used and you can try to learn through a project, right? That's a great way to learn new technologies. So you will get to know what's practical, what's not, what's used, what's not. And maybe it can be a learning experience. And maybe if you learn, like, if you're good enough at it, maybe you will qualify for the finals. So no one can say, but at least try. You can use it as an experience. It will help you in the future.
Okay. Okay, so we'll wrap this session up. Thank you to all the guests for coming. I guess they have a lot of busy schedule. All the UG4 people have placements and interviews to study for. Tejas bhai is a pass out; he has job. So I mean, very grateful to you guys
Correct.
for coming here and sparing your time to teach us. Hopefully, this year we'll get a lot of winners because of this session. And that's it. I
All the
mean,
best
thank
to
you
all
guys.
the teams.
All the best to all of you guys.
Yeah,
It was
you
great
guys
talking
should
to you.
participate definitely for the experience. Like I myself
Okay.
did for 2 years, so yeah, you should keep trying until you pass out.
Okay. All right then. So thank you, guests, once again, and we'll now end this session. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, good
Bye.
luck, guys. Bye.
Bye. All the
Thank you
best.
guys. Good luck.